Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Trailer Talk. This is sort of my part 2 of E3 recap, I guess you could say. Again, still don't really know how to organize these, so I'm just throwing a lot of interesting trailers that I kind of want to talk about. I wasn't going to do like so many, but then I realized, even though I streamed a lot last week and I kind of watched all these trailers live and you saw my reactions, that's not easily accessible for the people who may have missed that live. So I think it's good that I'm doing this so you can kind of hear my thoughts in a more concise manner. Anyways, you know what to do. Thumbs up, please. Try to spread the word and leave a comment below on anything. I want to hear your thoughts on these games. And if I'm not getting to a trailer from E3 you want me to talk about, please let me know in the comments below. I do read those. Let's get started with, I don't know. Oh, this is the one that wasn't working last episode. I kind of made this one myself. My computer was having issues running this, and so was the PS4. But this is the trailer for the new Nier game, Nier Automata, developed by Platinum Games. I'm a big Nier fan. It was my favorite game that year. Well, maybe it was Mountain Blade Warband in hindsight. But, it's looking good. It's looking good. I'll say this, let me pause. I can do that. I forget that I can do that. I'll say this. I know some people are worried about Scalebound. The demo they showed was just a boss fight in co-op, and it wasn't very exciting. But I think that game is promising. But it is a lot more ambitious, and they're trying a lot of new shit. If you want to, kind of... It's weird that I'm saying this about a Nier game, but I feel like Nier seems a little more comfortable, a little more predictable as far as what you expect out of Platinum. It looks great. Both look great, in my opinion. But this is the kind of game that, even if you didn't play that first Nier, but you really like Bayonetta or something, or Metal Gear Rising, probably play this game. Because look at this shit. I'm hoping that this is big and open world, like the first Nier was. Kind of looks like it there. That desert looked very large, at least. I hope this is still an RPG with like side quests and, dungeons and stuff. There is another video that's out there of this game where with a boss fight that you have to watch. It's fucking incredible. But yeah, this looks okay. So that's looks like a straight up pilotable mech back there. That's interesting. That's interesting. So you're gonna see him fighting her fighting this boss, and there's lots of shoot 'em up elements. Like this stuff right here. The first game had a lot of that stuff as well. So it's a game. It's a strange game, but I always recommend going back to try it because it has a really cool story, really cool characters, and it's weird. Hopefully this one is weird, like a good kind of weird. But we'll see. What's next? Okay, so this is a trailer for a game? It's really nothing at this point from what I understand. But this is big news for a lot of people, myself included. This is the new game from one Hideo Kojima. Game? Question mark? Seems like it might be running a little choppy here, but it's not like there's much action to see, so... This thing is super weird. It's so strange, like futuristic handcuffs, then a baby with a wire for an umbilical cord, and Norman Reedus, who was going to be the star of the new Silent Hill game worked on by Hideo Kojima until he got fired and left Konami. But this is not going to be a PT game. I mean, this isn't going to be Silent Hill. From what I understand, it's not even going to be a horror game like that. But I guess he established some sort of friendship with Norman Reedus. He's like, hey, come be in my other game with this new company I'm making. And there's baby hands covered in oil or tar or something. And there's lots of sea life stranded. Okay, this all makes more sense. I don't know. This is... Your guess is as good as mine. This is more of like a atmosphere piece, maybe. This shit looks crazy. He looks off in the distance and there's these floating figures. Hopefully, it's 5 awesome boss fights, because if you expect anything from a Hideo Kojima game, it's some dope-ass boss fights. A lot of people were excited about this. I don't think it's too surprising that this was at the Sony press conference. We knew that he was making a deal with Sony for his first game. Who knows? What is this thing gonna be? Is it gonna have the budget of a Metal Gear game? Probably not. Is it still gonna be good? Probably. Right? Probably. It's not like everything Kojima's created was great. I mean, that first Zone of the Enders was a Kojima game, and it was a little iffy. Let's pause it here. Title design. Technical producer Mark Cerny. Who knows if these people are even actually working on the game, or was this just the people who worked on this fucking trailer? Because from what I understand, there's not even an engine for this game yet. I don't know. I don't know. What do we have next? It's all exciting, all these video games. Oh, never mind. Okay, so I've been getting a lot of shit about my opinions for this game. I'm a very large, massive Resident Evil fan. Resident Evil 4 is one of the best games of all time. We all know this. Some of my best friends, some of my favorite games were old Resident Evil games. Resident Evil 2, come on, man. Remake, the dopest of games. Now, I actually really like Resident Evil 5. I think that's a great fucking video game. In fact, I'm replaying it right now with Malia. 6, it's a pile of garbage. We all know this. But this seems super reactionary. It's like, oh my god, they didn't like 6. I know we wanted to go back to horror, but Resident Evil has never been super scary in the first place. Like, I never found that game very scary, and I hate everything scares me. 2, I mean, it really was always an action game. Even in that first game, you get some pretty badass weapons, and killing zombies was fun. Now, from what I understand, there is going to be some combat in this game, but I definitely get more... Like, combat should be good in a Resident Evil. It should be fun in a Resident Evil game. You know, I'm not going to settle for, like, oh, well, it's just something you do, like in Silent Hill or something. You know, it needs to be good. It needs to be fun. There needs to be some growth. And fucking shit up, you know? I don't mind it being slower. I don't mind it being slower paced, but I played that demo, and it came off as kind of like some PewDiePie fodder, you know? Just one of these dozens and dozens of first-person horror adventure things that are made just so popular YouTubers will watch these videos and scream and make these developers enough money. You know, it's not saying like that'd be a bad thing, but like, let me pause this here. There's a lot of those games out of there. There's a lot of those games out there, and some of them are actually really good, really fun, doing like interesting things. I recently, played Layers of Fear. Finally, I finished it for the first time, and like that game did some crazy mind-bending shit. And there's a lot of them. Like the Amnesia developers make some. Like Chinese Room did the second Amnesia game. I mean, there's a lot of these games out there. This one, from what I just gathered in that little teaser, seemed really tame. Like some of the scares were like fucking cheesy, Like, the mannequin's standing over here now. I've seen that before in much better games like Condemned. I just expect a lot from Resident Evil. I didn't think it looked that great, It You know, if we're comparing this teaser versus like PT as a teaser for Silent Hills, PT was way more impactful on me, you know, and way more terrifying and way more beautiful. It's just saying. I expect a lot from Resident Evil in a fucking game that feels like a indie developed first person horror game. I don't even know if this thing is internally developed entirely. It looks like there's some like maybe some Western hands on this thing. If you really look at some of the character design, some of the writing, it feels very non-Japanese actually. Not that that's a bad thing, but Capcom and other Japanese publishers kind of have a history of farming out their IP to Western studios that aren't actually all that great. I wouldn't want that to happen to Resident Evil. But again, I stress there's a lot of games like this already out there. Games that are doing more interesting things than this. In fact, I will show you a trailer now for a game that is also a first-person horror game that's also going to have VR support, made by a brand new studio, and immediately already seems more interesting, more exciting, scarier. You know, these things are kind of a dime a dozen, man. Let's see what we got. I don't know if this thing is coming to not VR, but it is definitely coming to PlayStation VR. So Tan Gentleman is a new studio, and not many people know this, but one of the founders of this studio is Toby Gard, who was one of the creators of the very original Tomb Raider game. I mean, he like helped create Tomb Raider, and then he left to go do his own thing, and he's worked on like one other game since then that shipped, I think. I don't know. That game called Galleon, and that game was really crazy and wild. But anyways, look at this. Already, like, imagery, the atmosphere. Like, I'm not saying this thing's going to be great, but I'm saying these games are pretty often. This shit looks cool. Like Freddy with a suitcase coming out of a screen, man. It's eerie, man. It's eerie. I don't know, man. What else we got?
Peggy 18.
So this one does seem very PlayStation heavy, but didn't do that on purpose. There's just a lot of cool shit at the Sony press conference. So this is the new Quantic Dream game. You might know them as the guys that made Heavy Rain and Indigo Prophecy and Beyond Two Souls, which I never played. But I actually really like Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain, despite those games getting really dumb. Fun kind of dumb. And some of the cool shit they do is actually really cool and intense at times, you know? You know, I know David Cage is a person that inspires a lot of hatred or jokes or something, but I'm hearing he's less involved with the script in this game. But anyways, this game, you might have seen the trailer from last E3 or the Kara tech demo. I think those looked really great. This is a video of a different character who's also an android. I wonder if you play as all androids in this game. But this seems very much like Heavy Rain. You know, it's gonna like jump around between different characters, and it seems like the stakes are very high. Like characters can die, much like in Heavy Rain. You know, a character could die, but the story continues. You know, it just even if it's a situation where maybe they can't really die, it knowing that they have the possibility of dying for good, a character that you've spent a lot of time playing and maybe become attached to, it makes every decision a lot more exciting. You know, whether you truly have a lot of control or not, in the moment, it makes it more exciting. And I think that's the effectiveness of these Quantic Dream games, you know? You know, there's a lot of other games with tough choices where, you know, you feel like your actions should matter, but, you know, you don't really care. I don't know. Like some of the Walking Dead decisions you make. I mean, I actually like Walking Dead or some of the Telltale games. At least the Walking Dead, the stakes seem really high. But some of the other Telltale games, you're making these choices, and it's like there's no tension there. There's not even any question as to what you should choose. You know, it's You gonna side with the character who's clearly a douche, or side with the character who seems kind of cool? Yeah. I don't know. Like Wolf Among Us and stuff. Like, who really cared about the decisions on that? This shit seems cool. You know? Face the consequences. It's gonna kind of show a lot of different, you know, outcomes and stuff here. Getting very heavy rain. Seems cool, you know? Like one thing that this game has going for it is like futuristic androids and shit. You know, some Blade Runner-y type stuff. It's just cool, man. It's just cool. I gotta say though, if I was an android and I didn't want people to know I was an android, I'd probably wear my hair long to cover up the big circle that on the side of my head that tells people I'm an android. Sometimes I think maybe these games want you to care, you know, have an emotional reaction to various moments, and I don't know if the games do that for me, but like I said, pretty fun and exciting in the moment. I'm excited. Let me know. A lot of people like to talk shit about David Cage. Let me know below. Maybe I should play Beyond Two Souls.
PS4 for the players.
That one just seemed a little too dumb. I like dumb, but that one seemed a little too dumb. What do we have here? Oh, okay, so here's one last trailer. For a game I was kind of excited about going into E3, and now I'm a little more worried about, just because it looks way more budget than I was expecting. This is a game that's mostly being worked on by Armature, which is the indie studio developed by former people from Retro Studios that worked on Metroid Prime, which is why, I mean, I've always, ever since the birth of this studio, I've been kind of excited about whatever they were making. I see some Metroid Prime type stuff here. And I think this trailer is fairly well put together, but some of the other footage that's just out there from E3 looks a little more suspect. It just looks kind of budget. I don't know. Kind of C tier. Looks kind of like a game developed by some small European studio like Spider in the gameplay, which, you know, it's not always a bad thing. This stuff right here looks straight up Metroid Prime. This stuff where, like, look at these textures, man. This is kind of suspect, right? It's very budget. Like this stuff right here looks pretty Metroid Prime. We'll see. I mean, I'm definitely gonna play it when it comes out. This is like a $40 game, though. It's not $60, and it's not like a $20 download. I'm assuming it's coming on a disc. So I'll definitely play it. You like swap the cores out between robots, and they just like do different things in battles, and it just seemed like much more of an action game than I was expecting. Like, there's a lot of shooting and stuff, and some of the platforming looks a little jank. Like, those little platforms and the floatiness of those jumps didn't seem like they would line up very well, unless there's some mechanic that I'm not understanding it to make it a little easier. But ReCore, what do you think about ReCore? It comes out soon, so like,
Xbox One S.
The fact that it looks a little budget, you know, you kind of have to, you know, worry a little bit about it, because, you know, it's not like they're going to really improve that much before release. Anyways, that's it for part 2 of my E3 recap. Should I do another one? Let me know below. Are you watching these? Are you enjoying these? Please let me know below. I've got more trailers that I could talk about, but this is some of the stuff I want to talk about. You know, most, I guess. Anyways, please feel free to tell me how wrong I am about Resident Evil 7 below, and have a great day.